So, with all the paperwork signed, let's see. I know what this paperwork says. That no matter what and whom is predecessor to this planet, mainly a guy from Neptune, they know this and whatnot, that in actuality, that if they falter or fail, they lose their freedom as the first thing. That the judges and the Court of Common Pleas lost was their freedoms. You're not allowed to read those books no more. Especially, I mean, seriously, who's dumb enough, if you walk into James B. Brown Library, look to the left side, walking in the second set of doors, and just realize, I just signed the worst document in history, which, since most of you possessed your kid by genocide, and your kid, eating your kid, and whatnot, that you guys just totally screwed yourselves. And then to sit there and say, oh, I want to sit down and go bump bump, and try to gavel someone into, whether they did it or not, when everyone can hear your freaking thoughts. I'm not the only one sitting there saying, oh, I know what they're mentally thinking. That's why you're getting letters in the mail on a lot of different situations, why people might actually fill up the courtroom who technically aren't media to see how someone's case may go. Now, as far as the people government was told to not only the so-called people of the government, but the people that Trump, Clinton, Hillary, forget your ambitions about all these ideas of becoming a world ruler. But I wouldn't want to be a world ruler because I don't do the 12 inches, I don't sit there and try to mark myself up to be measured. So there's another technicality that in this aspect of your testing, you failed. Each and every one sitting in the representatives, the Senate, and the Congress, and the presidents, all of them failed the test. There's only so many that actually passed. And the first thing is you read, and the rule and the regulation against you is the rule is you do not go against me. The regulation is what happens if you break that rule. So with that, to turn around and say, oh, we got a people's government, but everyone in the world listens to me when I talk. But this country, and South America, a few people, and people in Canada. And that's probably under the 50,000 people range, but, I mean, if I was you, I'd be a little bit worried. Because murder is not illegal in the sense of what you're doing to people. I told you this when I was younger in 1980, in the actual fact of a mental way of speaking, which we all know is capable of actually happening to certain people. And it's not a terrific accident that happens when this happens. It's the little implant that you don't like. That's a chip. Okay, that's the microchip. It's already in you. It was in you the first day you were born. That's why we take you to the other room, and you get a little microchip underneath the skin, undetectable by every detector here except the ones over in Europe. Doesn't hurt you, won't hurt you. If it starts to make you swell, we'll take you over to Europe and have it removed, as well as fix the problem with your face swelling up. As far as new technologies, underneath the skin chips, the old ones work best, even though sometimes you do come across a CB radio. I've done that. It's kind of fun because I know how to make the chip in my neck work correctly, or stand close enough to someone who has a chip to actually make their chip broadcast on the CB radio. As far as a chip, it's if you ever look at a pellet gun, and a round pellet gun, it's like half of that, if not a half, and then a half of that, which is tiny. As far as how it's powered up, mainly you can do it a few different ways, but it's normally done because most people like to go lay out in the sun. You'll be called into the doctor's office for blood transfusions, this and that. So took the chip out of your neck, and we put it right down in the crep, where your elbow is, next to that vein. And normally you can't really feel it because it's small, but they'll go in and they'll take a needle and suck it out. A little easier done with the machine, which I think they only have one here in the U.S. But it's a lot easier to have it done that way. As far as how long have people been chipped, over 10,000 years. As far as today's date, 2017, is not today. Today is, excuse me, not 2000. Excuse me, 17. But anyway, let's get back to the Kant situation. Last time I learned, the Justice of the Peace had to go and talk to someone about collecting debt, especially official debt. I mean, official debt is anything from certain things to certain things, but if I told you something, you'd be really, really pissed at the so-called business people. Trump, you got a standard flat negative FF24, which means you got 24 Fs in a row. So, Clinton, how much money did you steal? That's how many Fs you got. Hillary, can't keep him in line, could you? But anyway, you got just as many. Bush is actually one of the people that are out there, and I won't slam Bush too much, but Bush actually kept you out of debt. I mean, he had it down to $886 billion. Another 10 to 12 to 15 years of the same taxation without war, and you would have had down to $226 billion. If not, just totally get rid of the military for 5 to 10 years, and you would have it paid off to almost $800 million. I would have opted to get rid of the military, kept, just enough around to secure the streets, and that's about it. As far as insurances are illegal. But the thing I want to say that's going to really piss you off is gas, oil, and electricity, and sewer, and let's see what else was technically paid for. The only thing I actually paid for, in the sense that you wouldn't get free rent, but those things would be paid for. Now, what Verizon, what AT&T, what T-Mobile, whoever your provider for electricity is, whoever your gas companies are lying to you. They're getting a double paycheck. So when you buy $886 in fuel, they get an $886 check from Europe. So we'll go with Agway, we'll go with Sunoco, we'll go with a lot of these different gas companies, and it's Balbo, BP walks a little bit more on a tighter line. All these companies that say they're broke, they're not. They're only allowed to do this for 10 years, from 1986 to 1996, and that to charge you to where you actually pay side by side, to where they could gain enough money to actually replace their own equipment. Now, as far as unemployment was no more than what is often called a build-up center. Okay, everything you do here, you build up enough money in your unemployment because the tax is only 18 cents for everything. It's to keep a small military here, no actual research unless it came over from Europe, etc., etc., etc. So that means that $456 when you're making $12 to $14 an hour would have been a lot cheaper. Now, if you're like me, I don't have to pay one bit of tax, but I pay at least 6 cents to 12 cents as far as tax. And one is in case of one thing, death tax. In case I get stuck here, I might need a grave. I don't think I want to be stuck here. Even though everything, like, that my body's telling me is like, get stuck here, dude. But anyway, as far as everything else, where does 30% out of the paycheck come from? Fucking robbing. They're robbing you. 30% means they're taking from Europe and they're taking from people here. So if you want to stand there and go da 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 da, as well as making money overseas through two people they murdered, people they killed by certain aspects of a machine they got a hold of, that they lie about that they don't have a hold of. Now, I mean, the end result for them is a death. And this can go on 6 generations. But at the end of that 6th generation, they're done. There ain't no life. There ain't no... That movie I put up there where you saw the white things come out, that was an actual real life evidence. We had to make it look like a movie so we could actually sneak it into this country. We're saying... People were asking, why do you gotta sneak things into this country? Because they don't want it in this country. They don't want you knowing the truth. So when you damn me, you damn yourself first. Because you're the people, though, that sat back and said, F you to everything I just did to make your lives easier. And the people sitting there saying, why are you protecting these people, especially criminals? Because you're all freaking criminal. You are here because you are a criminal. And the people that aren't, leave them alone. Out of 96% of this planet, I can't find one girlfriend who has not broken the law to be a criminal. Whether it's from your driving to the actual physicality of violence and driving and all the singularities of the criminal code, which isn't a code. A criminal action is not a code for the DMV. One, a commercial... This is how your DMV goes. Alright, your DMV, you see how they have them today. Okay. A stands for automotive, B stands for bus, C stands for commercial, and a tow truck is a T. But I think I have it as a W. But anyway, the point of it is, this is how stupid Congress, the Senate, and the representatives are. I don't know why you say house. Maybe you built yourself a little tree house somewhere and playing with your little wiener and whatnot for the rest of your life. I don't know. But you're well overpaid, because most of you don't make under $100,000. And most of you don't do your job. The governor don't do his job. You see him at elections in any state. Oh, we'll go around and talk to people. Okay. 4 months, nothing. 4 months, nothing. Ooh, you had a town meeting twice. Alright, you better be having more like 20 town meetings in 4 months. You don't know what they want. They're bitching, they're crying, they're robbing, they're stealing. You're responsible for that. The governor, the representatives, the Senate, and the Congress. They are 100% responsible. If I would go out and strangle someone today and they'd fall over dead tomorrow, you are responsible. You signed the paperwork. Last generation before, generation before that, generation before that, generation before that, and there was no legality in the sense of you changing the paperwork today. None whatsoever. I didn't change it. You can listen to all the BSers that you stand by. Also, the other thing of it is if you are a governor, a senator, you work in the government as an employee, whatever your title is, an FBI, CIA, NSA agent, or any of those, which you still blew the idea of. Okay, a female body inspector was not actually a joke. The CIA, Center for Internal Rehabilitation, does not say you can be a doctor or a surgeon and cut anyone open. And there was another one, it was BIA, and that stands for, actually it was MIA, but they didn't like that, MBIA, Male Boy Investigative Agency. So if you couldn't figure out what the FBI was, they also investigate, because they couldn't figure it out in 1985. You had to be told how to make a country run. I had to bring books here. I had to bring all kinds of preparations here after the fact of what you wanted, after hearing what you wanted. Then you turn around and give me the middle finger and say, go fuck yourself. And I can't say that on YouTube because it's not a swear word. If it's used in a form of a definition by the fact of America saying that it is actually a sexual condensation remark. By that dictionary, which means it's actually liable to be said if it's in the dictionary. For all the class master's here. Nowhere in any book does it ever say master's degree. Nowhere in it, anywhere in the book does it say bachelor's degree. Nowhere in any book does it say associate. Nor does it say labor. Labor is actually something you do. What part of stupid don't you understand? Why do you think I keep sitting there saying, have a big cup of shut the FCKING up? Because you don't know what the hell you're doing. Midnight raise in Pennsylvania, $80,000. Each and every one of them got. Wow, you guys are either toting a line on the fact that you're betting that this is going to be your last time around. Very much well could be. For all the people who don't want to pay taxes out west, that's from Missouri south to California, fine. We won't do a damn thing for you. Not in this country. Debt collectors, and I've named them all over the internet. You are illegal as hell. I never asked you to. And you say, oh, the government done it. That's not a government. Did you get did you request authorization to open a debt collecting agency over here by someone actually who's responsible? Elizabeth is not responsible. Little Betty Boop Milton, not responsible. William is not responsible. Henry is not responsible for any of that. Charles, he's still a prince. Which prince and princess does not exist in any form of actual real story, let alone any fact of real law. You heard ruler, which reference leader. Means he has to do by the measurement of ruling to be a leader. And that means that he has to be damn good at what he does to sit there and say, I want an army here, here, and here in case a war breaks out. And then he still has to ask me, unless I left someone behind, to answer that question. Which is 100% not likely. Because I'm just waiting for him to say, oh, back to war, good, bye, see you. Murdered, killer, death, rapist, molester, y'all inherit that. I ain't stupid. That's all I gotta say to a bunch of idiots.